So, welcome back to kind of Third Age Reforged, although it is more of a channel update than anything else. The audio that I'm recording now is being recorded at a different time to what's going on in the background, and I believe I'll just be using one of the 1v1s that I've got in my backlog as a sort of dressing for this video, as it were, so it's not just a black screen of my voice. Nothing could be more boring. But yeah, I figured a channel update would be important because I think a few things do need a bit of housekeeping moving forwards. And indeed, some of the changes have kind of already come into effect, although not fully. You know, I'll explain my thinking behind all of these things as we go. But the first topic is, and I know this probably won't be viewed as all that positive, but a reduction in Third Age Reforged stuff. And this has a few reasons. One is that I believe in my drive to make a video out every 2 days, which is kind of the goal that I set myself, although to be fair, when the faction showcases were coming out, I think it was more than that. It was 2 videos every 3 days instead. But I do feel as though the quality of each individual video has been compromised slightly, and this is mainly because I was just eager to get something out rather than perhaps something good. And I do feel as though battles like the big one on Dol Amroth that I showed most recently are the ones that should be shown more so than just anything that I can get my hands on and just pushing out the door. The other thing that I'm sure a lot of people have noticed with regards to this is the fact that I'm not in most of these replays myself, and this is mainly because I'm getting really burnt out on not just Reforged but anything Total War because of how long I've been doing this now. I've been doing this for just over 1.5 years, this whole posting up. Well, not Reforged specifically, Reforged is only just over a year now, but Third Age in general is stuff that I've been doing for that long, and essentially I have been getting out multiple videos per week of that for all of that time. And this means that I can't really help my enthusiasm not being as high as it used to be, and part of that has come down to the fact that I have wanted to keep up this pace of getting quite a lot of videos out every week, and unfortunately this means that anytime I get the recording done, I get all of the stuff done, and there's quite a lot of time that goes into that, all things considered, and then I have no desire to play the game myself after that. And initially that wasn't a problem because obviously it was all new and I still had the drive to play the game as well as do all of the recording stuff, but after 1 3/4 years that is no longer the case. You know, I feel as though that lack of enthusiasm has been showing itself through in my videos a little bit more recently, and I feel as though one of the ways to fix that is to lessen the amount of Third Age content so that when I do make a video there is more enthusiasm, and also I'll be able to play in some of these myself now because I won't be recording Third Age quite so much, and that will allow me to still have some enthusiasm to actually play the game that I'm making content on, because I feel as though I'm not really in a place to really be an authority on this game and sort of talk about balance and all of that if I'm not actually playing it myself. And I haven't played it myself at all really in the past 2 weeks, and even before that it was very sparse when I did play it. So yeah, and you know, it's not as if the reduction will be too severe. I'm thinking about doing 2 videos a week, whether that's 2 battles or a battle and then a potential top 10, although you know, top 10s is something else. Top 10s might be a little bit more complicated to do now because it is certainly quite a lot more complicated with regards to how the units interact with one another now. In the past it was quite simple for me to look at the stats, make predictions, and then test out those predictions and sort of make a top 10 based on that, but nowadays it's going to be a little bit more tricky and I might actually need a little bit of help to do them. But yeah, essentially that is the first thing, the reduction in Third Age content, which I know not everyone will be too happy about, but quite frankly I would rather do less videos that were better and that I was more enthusiastic about, rather than continuing with the pace I'm going at now, because honestly if I was to continue at the pace I'm going now, I would get sick of the sight of Total War in general, and you know, the enthusiasm level would only go down, and I feel like that's doing a massive disservice to the submod as a whole if I start lowering my enthusiasm levels any further. So yeah, that is the first thing. So again, probably not the most popular announcement that I've got going on today, but even so, that is how it is. The next one, we have other potential content. Now, the two videos that I've mentioned already would definitely be Third Age Reforged. Now, there is the possibility of every now and then me doing something else in order to post something up on the channel. Now, in the past, every time I've posted up something that wasn't Third Age Reforged, it has, generally speaking, been downvoted more so than anything else I do, and it doesn't get quite as many views, and this is understandable. But here's the thing, you know, if I were to do something else alongside Third Age Reforged, downvoting it and saying that you want to see Third Age Reforged is not going to make me do more Third Age Reforged, because as I said before, if I just keep doing Third Age to the level that I've been doing it now, I'll start to hate the game if I do it much more than I already am, and I really don't want that, because it doesn't deserve that. It's a good game, but I want to be enthusiastic about it again. But in order to do that, I need to take a step back from it a little bit, and, you know, lower the intensity of which I've been releasing videos for it. Now, that doesn't apply to potentially other content, and again, other stuff is not really even a confirmed thing. It's more of, it's something that might be an extra every now and then, because weirdly enough, you know, I don't really have much else that I can do in terms of content with what I've got at the moment, at least nothing that I would feel comfortable in doing. More on that at the end, but suffice it to say that if I do post up something else every now and then, and the immediate reaction is, I don't want this, I want more Third Age Reforged, I'm just going to ignore you. So please don't. You know, if you say I don't really want you to do this at all, that's fine, but I'll stop doing the other content if you want, but don't expect me to replace it with more Reforged. It would just be replaced with nothing. So, you know, that's the situation with regards to other stuff, which might be making an appearance at some point, but even that isn't confirmed, to be fair. The main topic of this video is the Third Age Reforged stuff in general, but the other content is more of a sort of footnote to that. The next thing is the quality of the replays that I've been releasing recently, and mainly this was a topic that came up in the Dol Amroth replay itself, and that is mainly that it seems to me like I've had to turn down the quality of my videos quite a lot in the previous two patches. Now, I don't think this is wear and tear on my machine, because my PC it's not a supercomputer by any means, but it's pretty decent, and you'd expect it to be able to run this sort of game. But I feel as though, you know, it's getting more difficult to get the visual fidelity that I used to out of Third Age Reforged for whatever reason, whether this is because they've started to add huge maps, more unit models and all of that sort of thing, and it's taking more of a toll on the game itself, which is probably the most likely thing. But regardless, there's not really much I can do about that, so you're going to have to bear with me on that one, because I feel as though that if it's going to get sorted out, it will be something which sort of gets sorted out in time. But for the time being, it's only really going to really majorly impact the kind of battles on the scale of the Dol Amroth one I just did. Outside of that, I should still be able to get some pretty good, decent looking visuals out of a game that was first made in 2006 on the sort of more regular battles. But, you know, as I said, that's just sort of something which I'm going to have to try and sort out on the fly, as it were. Now, the next topic is the uncertainty in the upcoming year. Now, all of this is all well and good while summer is still going on, and my time is still entirely my own. But come September, the final year of my university course begins, and that's going to be an interesting challenge. I feel as though that reducing the content now, honestly, might be the smart thing to do, simply because I would be forced to when the university year started anyway, because there'd be no way I'd be able to keep up the current pace I'm doing when the university year starts. So honestly, this is probably just sort of preempting something that I would have had to do in the first place anyway. But regardless, there is also the possibility in the second half of the university year, when the sort of the final year project gets underway, that I might have to, again, it's not unheard of, because this is something that I did at the sort of the start of 2017-ish, where I sort of took a month out, and that might be the sort of thing which happens again at the start of 2019. Now, again, this is something which may or may not happen, but it is something that it is worth considering. The upcoming year is going to be quite busy for me in terms of an academic point of view, so that naturally is probably going to impact something that I do on the side, like this YouTube channel. And, you know, the summary, I suppose, of this, sort of wrapping up what I have to say, is that I'm unsure how the channel is going to sort of change and move, because I never really planned any of this out. I never really expected it to go anywhere at all when I first started doing this back. Again, it was a summer when I was a little bit bored and decided to just do some Third Age stuff on the side, and people started watching it, and it's just sort of carried on from there. So I never really expected it to go anywhere. And much less in the genre that I'm in, to be honest with you, because if you had told me shortly before I started doing the videos that I would have a sort of moderately successful channel from my standpoint, from doing solo videos talking in a more factual way about strategy games, that wouldn't have been my first impression, because it's something that I don't actually think I'm that strong at. You know, I don't feel as though I have the charisma to carry things on my own. And I mean, I think that in terms of humour and talking, I feel as though that I would be much better if I were to do multiplayer games with some people I know. But again, that's a completely different kettle of fish. That one, that would be very, very different. It might be the sort of thing which happens like sort of every now and then with a couple of people I know, but it's not really going to be something which happens all too common. It's not going to be all too commonplace, because again, it's pretty. The scheduling for some of my friends that I play games with is rather disparate to my own, mainly because it's a rather international thing. But yeah, I mean, part of the issue that I have with regards to wanting to enjoy the game again, because I have sort of fallen out of love with it a little bit, honestly, if I'm being honest lately, which is why the enthusiasm has started to wane a little bit, because I've played it, you know, I've been doing it for quite a while at this point. It's mainly because in order to continue this channel, it is something which I do for the enjoyment of it. It's not something that I do as a job like several other YouTubers might do. You know, I hesitate to call myself a YouTuber, because to my mind that is someone who does do it as a job. This is sort of more of a sort of side activity for me that I do for fun. And, you know, because I can't do it as a job. You know, I don't have a viewer base that is big enough to do it as a job, nor do I have the level of subs or views, you know, that would be necessary. You know, I've turned advertisements on. Of course, I've had adverts on for about, I don't know, half a year, maybe a little bit longer than half a year now, and I can promise you that it's not an awful lot of money with regards to with how many views I get. It's not a lot of money at all, and nor do I think I'd want to do it as a job. Weirdly enough, I want to just be able to do it as something which I enjoy, and that's the main reason for the changes that I'm sort of listing off as we've gone through this update. And I don't want the channel to end, because I do enjoy it. I do like sort of seeing people's comments and seeing. I like helping out in my own small way, I suppose, with the sub mod. I'm certainly not helping out on the level of a dev, or, you know, someone like J Monster who has a channel and is a dev. But, you know, I like to think that at least I'm doing something to help the health of the sub mod, which, you know, I do feel as though it does deserve more attention. And, you know, because there has been a lot of hard work that's gone into it, a lot of balancing work, because making a game which works from a multiplayer standpoint is difficult, because you need to make sure that everything is good. So yeah, that's largely all I have to say on the matter. And honestly, I can't see my channel growing all that much more from Third Age Reforged, to be honest with you. I feel as though sort of between the 2,000 and 3,000 sub mark is where I'm likely to stay for some time, unless I was to drastically diversify my channel. But again, as I've said, I don't really know what to do with my channel, to be honest with you, because I never really expected to have one. But here I am. Here are some of the changes that mainly with regards to Third Age Reforged content that I've mentioned throughout this update. You know, let me know what you think. You know, I do hope that people won't be too disappointed that I'm planning a little bit of a reduction in Third Age content, but, you know, it is what it is. To my mind, it's for the best. So yeah, I hope you found this informative. You know, I feel as though it was needed, because there were quite a few topics I needed to cover here. And I hope you'll join me for whatever is next, which will probably be another battle replay. I think I do have one that is a night battle in Mountain Pass, but if I can get the brightness to work out so people can actually see what's going on, then we'll be doing that one next. But yeah, hopefully we'll see that.